Let's call this meeting to order. Good evening. I'd like to ask Director Clark to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you would.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director. Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Saturday, August 27th, 2016 at 4 p.m. and Sunday, August 28th, 2016 at 12 p.m. noon, Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Madam Secretary, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers this evening.
No speakers. Thank you very much. We'll move to the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments? Director Mitchell?
Yes, I'd like to comment on number 5, if I might, sir.
Please.
This is, excuse me, number 6, I beg your pardon.
Okay, we can do that.
It's on the transfer deferred compensation plan reserve. I'd like to speak as a retired member of this great district, not as a director, but since I do sit here, I feel that this is one of the best benefits, without a doubt, that our employees have. And I say that from the bottom of my heart because I can tell you years ago, when I personally got into this program, I would have never thought that it would do for me what it has done. So I would just like the general public to know this is something that the district offers, but the employees take care of themselves. And there's a lot of volunteer time that goes in to the committee that looks after this for the retired employees, that they spend hours and hours and hours of volunteer time. So I would like our constituents to know that, and that it's certainly not costing them any money, and it's a great benefit for this, not only our employees, but this district to be able to offer to the employees. So, and I thank you for letting me comment on that, Director.
Absolutely. Thank you, Director Mitchell. Any other comments or questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I so move approval of consent items.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call for the question.
Director Mitchell.
A resounding aye.
Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Wood.
Aye.
Barnes.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
And Scheidegger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move to reports. President's report. I have nothing to report. Fire Chief's report. Chief Wells, good evening.
Well, good evening, directors. Tonight I'd like to thank actually all the budget officers and Local 522 for their review of the final budget. We did that on August 15th, and I'd like to express my thank you to President Scheidegger for attending on behalf of the board. And tonight that was given to the Finance Committee. So good work for everybody involved in the budget this year, and making some meaningful progress moving forward. On the 20th, I had the opportunity to go out and to meet with the CERT team, the Citizens Emergency Response Team. I can tell you that one thing that kind of the unsung heroes, I'll tell you what, a large group, very well-organized group. I'd like to personally acknowledge Captain Alan Getru, who's been running that program for a long time. But the CERT team, actually, we could not do the air show without the CERT team. And just the countless volunteer hours out there. And I would also say that this year at Camp Smoky at the State Fair, they had over 50 hours of volunteer time at the booth. And in addition to the other public education opportunities, hands-only CPR, and even in large wind events and things where it taxes our resources during storms, they come out and will actually safeguard lines that are down, et cetera, so that we can move on to do other jobs. So I just really wanted to acknowledge them tonight. They're a fantastic group, and I had the opportunity to tell them so on the 20th. We have a promotion ceremony on the 30th of this month. It's next week. It'll be 5 p.m. at Rancho Cordova City Hall, and we are honoring 34 individuals that have been promoted in the fire district. Looking forward to that. Also, the upcoming events surrounding 9/11. There's the 9/11 stair climb, and that begins at 8 a.m. at the Renaissance Tower at 801 K Street. And you can go to the sac911climb.com as a registration. It's a firefighter event where they climb to honor the 343 firefighters that lost their lives at 9/11. Also, the same day on 9/11 is the Run to Remember. It's a 5K run walk, and it starts at 9:11 a.m. start time. And also, you can register for that at sac911run.com. I'd like to acknowledge our office technician in the community risk reduction, Giovanna Reed. She was hired on the 16th of August. And we had a promotion. This is a great success story of our single role paramedic program. We had EMT to a paramedic promotion of Kurt Stever, and he actually was an EMT when he was hired in the single role program, went through the process of becoming a paramedic, did his internship with Metro Fire, and now he's a paramedic working in the single role program. So very glad to promote him. We had a retirement effective today of 15 years of service for our logistics technician, Janice Lewis. Congratulations to her, and we look forward to a great retirement for her. We're currently recruiting for an accounting technician. It's an internal-only opportunity, and it is a final filing date of the 21st of August. Well, actually, that happened already at 4 p.m. And then, just for everyone's edification, our offices will be closed on Monday, September 5th, in observance of Labor Day. So if you have any questions, feel free, and I will field those. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Chief. Questions? Thank you very much. Operations report, Chief Ray. Good evening.
Good evening, Directors, President Scheidegger, Eric Bridge, Operations Chief. Wanted to comment on a few good deeds that our folks are doing out there on the fires, but first I'll give you the brief rundown on the numbers again. As since the last board meeting a couple weeks ago, we're holding steady with about 3,600 total calls, of which we had 20 good structure fires, and I mean by that is where they're working in terms of everybody's all hands type of working fires. In the EMS side of things, we had 2,600 dispatches, of which we transported 73% of the time. And our good partners at AMR were busy with 173 dispatches and 121 transports. And as we continue to move on into the fire season, we have resources deployed throughout the state, and we currently have about 70 people out on different incidences from the Cedar Fire and the Chimney Fire and the Soberanus Fire. And just a few good stories I'll just leave you with. I know some folks on our Chimney Fire where there was an assignment given to one of the agencies where to lay about a 7,000-foot hose stretch down a hill, it's one of the steep canyons with one of the hand crews. So you got hand crews cutting brush out of the way, and our crews are coming down behind it, putting hose lines in. And one of the agencies wasn't too excited about it because it was all poison oak. So, but the good news is Metro Fire says we'll take that assignment, and they did, and they accomplished it. And about an hour ahead of time from the hand crew boss, these guys were about an hour ahead of time of what they anticipated. So good work was being done on that. The Clayton Fire, I'm sure some of you may or may not have heard the sad stories about what has happened in there. One of the homeowners came and found his pets had not survived the fire. So our crews noticed his need and assisted him with giving his pets a proper burial. So not all the work's always putting out fires. Sometimes it's just being a good, decent human being. So I feel proud to represent our folks at Metro Fire, and they're doing the right things out there. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's all I have.
Chief, Mr. Chair, can I ask you a question? Chief, is it easy to find out of the 2,600 calls that we ran in the last time between when we met, how many of those calls are BLS and how many are ALS? Is that a fairly easy data point? Can we start gathering that? Because I think that's helpful to know that of how many EMS calls we're running, a certain percentage of those are designated by medical control as requiring advanced life support. I think that there's a messaging that needs to happen in that regard to kind of talk about the importance of that level of care in our community. So I think it'd be interesting to get that, maybe not every time, but a little bit more detail on exactly what those responses might be.
Yeah, we're looking, we have a working group with our dispatch now that, with all the agencies representing, and that it can be one of the data points that we definitely plan to monitor, in addition to a few other triggers like response times and things. But
Sure.
Absolutely, there's the dispatch, the BLS and ALS dispatch, and then there's the actual outcome side too. But I think you're referring to the dispatch.
Well, either one.
Either one, yeah.
I'd be obviously more interested in, once we get there, what determination we make. And that's no disrespect to the dispatch folks.
No,
They're
it's only as
a
good as the
wonderful job.
info received,
Right, I
right?
think
So
that
I
once our
think
crews get there, if they decide that it needs to be re-triaged.
Right.
That's what I'm mostly interested in, is how many actual ALS contacts do we have a month or in these reports?
Sure.
Which obviously end in an ambulance transport to an acute care facility.
yeah, we will work on digging that up.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mr. Chair.
You bet. Director Mitchell?
Chief,
Yes.
you mentioned we had approximately 70 people out on these different emergencies. Would you hazard a guess on the number of vehicles that are out with those 70 people?
I could divide by 4 on a few of them. It'd be difficult because most of those are the fire engines that are out.
Good.
And then in terms of support vehicles, for our overhead folks, is that which?
Just vehicles, I don't, whether they're engines or sedans.
Okay.
Would you hazard
My hazard
educated
guess
is
would be
fine.
2. And those would be our strike team leader vehicle and our assistant, or our backup strike team leader vehicle.
What about engines?
Our engines, we would have 3, I'm going to count them up, 13 total. Thanks, I know I have my,
Thank you. So 13
good
and
staff.
2, 34, approximately 15 vehicles is, thank you, Chief.
yep, you're welcome. And all those stations are backfilled with other apparatus.
Understood. When you mentioned that our crews stepped up and cut this line, and it was all through
Poison Oak.
Oak, a question I guess comes to mind that, yes, our people are covered with insurance, and I understand that, the way the comp insurance works. But when we go to another agency like these people are on, and whether it's an injury or poison oak or poison ivy, is it this agency that takes care of those insurance needs, or is it the agency that we're responding to takes care of our employees' needs? Because all insurance a lot of times is based on not only the risk, but the number of incidents that are reported. And so,
Yeah, it's much like our local aid agreements. We have automatic aid agreements with Sacramento City and Cosumnes and Folsom, and this master mutual aid system we have with the state of California works similar to that with the work comp. So we handle our own. So if we go into another agencies, if I'm understanding the question correctly, as we're in Monterey County, and as the host agency might be whoever,
Yeah.
they don't handle ours. We handle our own.
we handle our own. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other?
Chief Bridge, I just want a little personal observation. Yesterday, I was finishing a little vacation trip with friends and was in the Big Sur area. I promise I wasn't going to suit up or anything, don't worry. But we drove by the area, and I just want you and the people associated with this agency to see the expression of, or feel the expression of thanks, of the outpouring from the community. Just scores and scores of thanks to our firefighters. And it was interesting, many of them said thanks to all our firefighters. I mean, people recognize that it wasn't, just local people or CAL FIRE, that people like Metro were there. And I just had a real sense of pride, and I want you all to share that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Director Mitchell.
Along with your comments, Director, I would share with you, but this is a story of years ago, on the strike team that came out of the first, what was known as the 49er fire. I'm sure Chief Wells is familiar with that. But as the strike teams came back through Nevada City, and there were large numbers of people stepping off of the sidewalks, tipping their hats, clapping their hands, to go along with what you say you've seen. But it's when you see that and you've been there and worked your heart out, it means something to you as one of the people that have done that. But so I know what you mean, and I thank you for that comment to the chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to make sure that there's crews that I did not relay the stories, that the hard work that they're doing, because like I said, with 70 of those folks out doing the work, there's a lot of other good work that's happening that we know is happening and just don't hear about it all, but they're doing great work, the troops are.
Thanks to all of our troops.
Yep,
Thank you,
thanks
Chief.
to them all. Thank you.
All right. Council Lavra.
No report at this time.
All right, thank you. Anyone here from 522? All right, move on.
Well, they're here.
Committee and delegate reports. The executive committee has not met, nothing to report. Communications Center, JPA, Chief Bridge.
GPA board has not met since we last met on the 11th. Our next meeting is this Tuesday, August the 30th at 9 a.m. in these chambers.
Thank you. California Fire and Rescue Training, JPA, Director Kelly.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as I reported out last meeting, the JPA is set to meet on the 15th of September at the CESC here at 4 p.m.
Very good. Thank you, Director. Finance Committee, Finance and Audit Committee, Director Wood.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance and Audit Committee met today at 5 o'clock. We received from CFO Thomas the final year-end unaudited results for 15-16, and she also presented us the final budget for 16-17. Both of those will be coming before the full board on the 8th of September for consideration, but a couple of highlights come to mind. For 15-16 year end, in almost all categories, our budget and our actuals came in very close. There were a couple that were different. Total revenues were slightly less than budgeted, and large part of that was due to an IGT transfer that we expected to get last year. Is getting moved forward into this year. And our expenditures were about $3 million less than budgeted, and again, there's a big IGT component associated with that. But all of the good details and the good news will be coming forward on the 8th. One of the items that should make a number of us happy here, our reserves ended up at $22,928.05, which represents 13% of our net budgeted expenditures.
That is good.
That was very good. As for the preliminary budget going forward, there's one thing I will share. I don't want to take any steam from Amanda's show next week or in 2 weeks, but our budgeted overtime for 16-17 is reduced $4.7 million from our final year end of 15-16. So 15-16, we ended up at $16.4 million in budgeted overtime, and that's inclusive of deployment costs. We're going to be down about $4.7 million next year. So we're driving that number the right way.
Good. Good. Board members, questions? Thank you, Director. Excellent report. We'll look forward to our September 8th.
September 8th, and the Finance and Audit Committee will meet next on the 22nd.
Good to know. Thank you. Policy Committee, Director Gould.
We're scheduled to meet on September 8th to go over some new policy revisions, and my vice chair will be managing that as I will be in sunny Riverside, California at a conference. So whoever, I can't remember whom the illustrious vice president might be, or vice chair.
Chair, yeah.
But they'll have to be running the meeting.
Well, we better appoint someone very quickly.
Might we do that at some point so that our Melissa will know who to contact?
Who's the vice chair? Come on.
I believe it's Director Orzali.
Yeah, and you notice how he wasn't raising his hand?
You know, you just
Yeah,
shrink
he's
the
like,
violet, clearly.
so anyway, that's what we'll be doing, Mr. Chair. Thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you. We'll miss you. Board member questions and comments. Director Jones.
Just the overall congratulations to both our new hires and to the retirees that Chief mentioned in his report. It's interesting because you have the beginning and you have, in a sense, the completion of a career. You have beginnings and completions. And somewhat routinely we go through these announcements, but it helps every now and then to stop and think about the great importance that each of those transition phases mean to the individuals that are mentioned by the fire chief. So congratulations to one and all.
Thank you, Director. Director Kelly.
I would just like to say that it feels great to know that so many of our people are out there helping others that are in need. And I would like to recognize we got a couple of retirees in the audience tonight. I'm sure everybody saw them. Nice to see you guys.
Oh, that's
Thank you, Director. Director Clark.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank the men and women of Metro Fire for the excellent job that they do day in and day out.
Well said, thank you. Director Mitchell.
Dittos to what's already been said, but special thanks and prayers for our 70 people that are out of this district that put their lives in harm's way. So we send our prayers to those people. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Gould.
No comment.
You can carry over next meeting. Director Orzali.
To follow Director Gould, no comment. Thank you.
All right. Director Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to echo the comments have already been said. As you guys know, there's a charity near and dear to my heart, the Pig Bowl Guns and Hoses, that I bring up. We are in August, a few months away from the great game. But also, I will say that one thing that we added this year, which is important, is a baseball game that will be coming up on September 17th at Sacramento City College from noon to 4. I'll be putting out information about that. Recipients of those charities will be the Burn Institute, which is very near and dear to this organization. So look forward to adding a new addition to the Guns and Hoses as we continue to build that charity, but it's always a give back to the Burn Institute and other local charities within this region. So look forward to people coming out to that.
Thank you, Director Barnes. You won't be recruiting board members for that game.
We'll do a softball.
Okay, there, very soft. Good. Director Wood.
I have no comment. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. I just want to add on to the chief's comment about that budget meeting. I did have the pleasure of attending that, and I'm very proud of the product. Once again, I think our staff has done an excellent job preparing this district to move forward. But I'm particularly proud of the process. Everybody was there. The whole management team was there. 522 was there. Everybody had an opportunity to present their case, to present the case for more, or in some cases, I guess even a little less, for their particular organization. And it was an excellent process. I think the citizens of this district should be very proud of how the fiscal leadership is, in essence, pursued in this area. So thank you very much, Chief, and to your staff. Good job. Well done. All right, with that, we're going to move to closed session, and I hope most of you have an enjoyable evening.
You know the difference between attorneys and attorney jokes? There are some jokes.
All right, we're going to, is everyone here? We're going to reconvene at this point. Council Lavra, would you report out, please?
Yes, thank you, President Scheidegger. The board met in closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 to consider 6 matters involving workers' compensation settlement authority. The first case of Jeffrey Dornbush and Sac Metro Fire, the board, by majority vote, agreed to give permission to its third-party administrator to settle that workers' compensation claim. In the case of Matthew Cole and Sac Metro Fire, by majority vote, the board gave authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. In Larry Savage in the Sac Metro Fire District, the board, by majority vote, agreed to provide settlement authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. In the matter of James Novotny versus Sac Metro Fire District, the court, by majority vote, gave authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. In the matter of David Sinclair and Sac Metro Fire District, by majority vote, the board voted to provide settlement authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. And finally, in Christopher Kenton and Sac Metro Fire District, the board also voted by majority vote to provide authority to its third-party administrator to effectuate settlement of that claim. On the last matter concerning fire chief employment under Government Code Section 54957, the board took no action. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Lavra. There being no further business before this board, we will adjourn, reconvening here on September 8th at 6 o'clock. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I forgot, that's right, you went back to Labrador.